So this video we make a database. Please do not just open Access and start doing stuff there. It causes problems, trust me. The best way to do this is to make a folder, in this sensibly named folder, and in that folder say new Microsoft Access database, and I am going to call my new Microsoft Access database running, because I'm going to use it to track runs that I do, which of course I don't need a database for, but it's just a learning experience. Most people would use something like Strava or MapMyRun or something for running. So I have made a database, it has opened it up, it's created this extra file here. Don't worry about that, that's just a locking file, we can talk about that another time. And I'm going to enable content, and I am going to click that it's a trusted document. I'm going to tick on that box, so it doesn't make any difference, it ignores that anyway. But anyway, so here I am in my new database. There was nothing in it at the moment. We can't do anything until we've got some data to work with, so let's start by creating a table. Create and table. And the first thing to do is to go straight into design mode. So this button over on the left here, that kind of changes depending on the mode you're in. If you click the little drop down here, datasheet view, that's like this spreadsheet view, design view. So we're going to go into sort of setting it up, and the first thing it asks us is to name the table. I'm going to call it TBL runs. I am in the habit of naming tables with TBL in the front. It can sometimes be helpful to know whether it's a table. You can mistake it for a query sometimes. So TBL runs, and the first thing we note is it's given us a field already for free called ID auto number, and it's got a little icon next to it, which is actually, you can't really see, but it's a little picture of a key. So it's given us a primary key, which is the unique identifier field. Let's leave that alone. Let's totally leave that alone. It's called ID. Yeah, we'll just leave that completely alone. And we do not ever change it, please. I'll talk a little bit about changing the name of the primary key, but do not actually delete it or anything like that. So the next bit is thinking about what fields I want in my database. So I've already put a little bit of thought into it. It's actually a super important thing to do. It's like, what actually do you want to record? So I thought, well, if I'm going for a run, I want to know what route I went on, what the date was probably, how long it took, maybe what trainers I was wearing, I don't know, what the distance was, what the pace was, and some other things. So I'm going to use those fields. So just put that over there. So the first field is the route that I was gone on, and it's defaulted to short text, which is actually very much appropriate for what I'm doing. And you can see down here we've got some properties which we'll come to. Field size 255 is 255 characters, that's plenty. So the next thing was I had date. If I was to call it date, that would be very much a no-no. We should never call a field just date. It's a bad name because it's not descriptive. Also, it's a reserved keyword in Access, and it can cause problems later. So I'm going to call it date of run. You'll notice no spaces. It's not identifier. It's much easier in the long run if we don't put spaces into field names. Date of run, I think that's going to be a date type field, isn't it? Then the next one I had was I'm going to leave out the time, how long it took for the moment, because that one is going to take a little bit of thinking about. I'm going to have the trainers that I was wearing, might be useful, I don't know, and the weather and the distance. And you know what, I think I'm just going to leave it at that for now. I can add some more fields in later. But the distance, I think, should be a numeric field, so we can specify what kind of number. Long integer, you need to have a good reason before you change these down here. Integer means whole number though, so maybe you might want a double, which would give you the ability to store decimal numbers. So those are my fields. Let's have a look in datasheet view. Do I want to save it? Yes, I do. Here we go, and let's put in some sample data. We always need sample data. If you don't put in sample data, then you can't really test anything else that you do. So if you create forms or queries or whatever, there's just no way to see whether they work or not. So the date of the music point run, that was actually yesterday. It was today. I ran to music point today. I was wearing my ASICS trail runners, whatever they are called. P6 trail. The weather was clear today, and the distance I think is like 4.8 k's. That's what I did. See, it's turned that into 5. I should have made it double, shouldn't I? I can go back and change that in a bit. Then yesterday I ran into Howick, so that was yesterday, and I was wearing the other ones. They're actually Under Armour, I remember now, Under Armour. Not sure if they spell it that way. The weather was also clear yesterday, and that distance is about whole number this time, 12 k's. So there we go, I've got some data in there, and I'm just going to go and change this number. I'm going to change this to what are our options? Decimal. I wonder what that does. I'm going to go with double. Double is what I would normally use for something like that, and it will now tell me that could be a problem, maybe? No? All right. Let's just see if I can change that to 4.8. 4.8. See, it likes it now. So you can see the importance of choosing the correct field types. It actually makes a big difference. And dates, you know, by choosing date, I've got a date picker, that kind of thing. Next video, we'll do some more work with, we'll do some work with this. We'll do forms and stuff like that.